What's going on YouTube? It's Raka, and today I'm here on the 14th of May, my birthday, here to react to a Nuxtaku video, which instead of doing the 120%, I'm just going to go to the 100%, and then once I get the 8 likes, then I'll do the very next one, and until I'm caught up with the other ones. But thanks to all the positive comments that I've gotten from the 1/3, I think it was 120 actually, and the trans cult video, they mean so much. All the positivity means that yeah, I'm not the only one that thinks like Nux, and it's good to see people out there that are the same exact way, and you know, our voices need to be heard. We shouldn't be silent, and we should just express ourselves to the point where we shouldn't have to silence ourselves. So, but babbling, because it's been a long day, I have not slept yet. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. The trans movement is 100% done now. That is what it's called. Let's go. And go.
Gentlemen and female gentlemen, the transgender movement is in very big trouble. Yeah, incredibly big trouble. So Elon Musk, the guy that everyone's talking about these days, known for many things like multiple impregnated women, among other things that are obviously less important.
This was in February, damn.
He retweeted this tweet saying how Wisconsin's budget recommendation in 2025 to 2027. Dude, why the are they spending money on this shit? He wants to change some words, okay? Word previously used, wife or husband. That should be changed to spouse. Word previously used, mother. We should change that to inseminated person. Word.
I forgot about this shit. Word previously used, paternity, oh my god.
Previously used, paternity. Change to patronage. Words previously used, father. No. Change to natural parent. Word previously used, man, woman. Well, that should immediately be changed to per son. I personally offended.
God.
I would call it per son or daughter. This is already sexist in my opinion, but I have to say, this is crazy. So Elon Musk is like, hi mom, I mean inseminated person. This is actual retarded shit. This is why the transgender movement is literally cooked. That's why they're cooked. If they were just like live and let live people, no one would give a flying fuck. But
the bad part, a lot of the real people in the trans community, they don't want to be in the spotlight. They want to be what they are, and then that's it. They want to be what they are, do what they want to do, work, pay their bills, live, and that's it. They don't want the spotlight like the Lily person or the Star person.
They are coming for your language! You have to call your mom inseminated person? Dog!
God, can you imagine Mother's Day? Happy Inseminated Person Day! Oh my god.
I don't want children even knowing what inseminated means, to be honest. This is fascism. Fascism is when they change and force you to speak a certain way. All the people chanting Trump is a fascist, meanwhile they slap you across the face with their cock, or lack of cock, purely to make you speak the way that they want you to speak. The movement is so cooked right now, it's crazy. Sydney Watson just dropped a video 9 hours ago, the spectacular collapse of the trans movement, and I am very eager to see how cooked everything is right now. Now, as you know, I personally, Lord Nuxanor, lover of downfalls, breeder of chaos, am literally here and excited to see how insane has gotten. I do like
shit's
downfalls
gotten
a lot,
real
actually.
the last
It's
few
not
months.
healthy. My therapist requested that I tone down downfalls, but I heard that the downfall was glorious, and there are tears to be collected. So let's dive right into it, baby. I am so ready for some f***ing chaos.
How many genders are there?
2.
Oh my god, she has to whisper it! Because God forbid she'll say it out loud! She might get stabbed! That's a hate crime right there! Dude, look how scared she was to answer that question. Holy fuck.
It's a
Because cancel culture, even to this day, it still exists.
spectrum, so like a lot.
Can you name me
A lot.
Like a lot.
a few?
You don't think that they're...
Wait, what? Wait, why are we in the courtroom? Hold up.
there really is any clear-cut distinction between male and female as biological categories. Is that correct?
So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify.
This dude has a better goatee than I do. Oh my god.
Sir, have you considered buying signs from Tony LC Signs?
Mister!
Tony the homie has
Mister!
some shit to sell you, sir!
Identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term.
That was a reference for those of you that don't know.
Well, 3 years ago, a Florida family story went viral for raising a gender-neutral baby.
That has to be a
That's-
fucking crime.
That's just a goddamn shame right there. I'm serious. That's just a goddamn shame.
Neutral baby? The fuck does that mean?
It's what it sounds like.
Huh?
It's what it sounds like, Nux.
Dude, that's the thing. If it wouldn't have gone to like an insane extreme, no one would give a shit. You know who actually negatively affects the transgender community? The fucking transgender community.
Yeah?
These activists are like fucking poison. Gender neutral baby, what does that even mean? They cut the baby's cock off because, I think the baby's it's a girl, actually.
I identify as non-binary.
I was fast-tracked onto puberty blockers and then testosterone.
Gender clinics across the country have seen a huge rise in child referrals.
I have been misgendered 3 times.
What?
Yeah, but to be fair, we already covered this person. The reason why he's been misgendered 3 times is he goes into purposely to the establishments and makes it seem like he's a sir, which you'd be crazy not to automatically assume it's a sir, especially with that squared face.
No!
Just so they get free meal.
The audacity! Ugh! No! What? Anyway.
In the past 24 hours.
A Christian teacher who was banned from teaching for misgendering a pupil has...
What is happening? Literally, what is happening? What the fuck is going on? They're firing Christians for misgendering children? Dude, what is going on? Oh my god. And look, and they wonder.
lost his high court.
I can't even get through the intro. All right, we gotta lock in, bro.
Battle.
He got the axe for failing to use a transgender student's preferred pronouns.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
No. I'm a member of the transgender community. More accurately, more specifically, I'm what you call gender non-binary or gender non-conforming.
I'm so glad that everyone has had enough of this.
Wow, we are literally entering a new era. And I think the truth is, again, if you, in your own private time, wanted to do whatever you wanted to do, I think that the majority of people would respect you. Well, maybe not respect you, but let you live.
Dang it, Nux.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit what anyone does. Literally. I don't give a flying fuck what you do in your private time. Oh my god. You are literally crippling your own shit. Live and let live. Literally. I don't care.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell.
Here we are. Hell. Woo! Hell is 100% cooked. That's crazy.
And as per usual, before we launch into...
Did you see the Hunter Schafer nonsense? The what? The huh? It's trending everywhere. People are really angry. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Oh my god, there's so much chaos. There's so much chaos!
Isn't Hunter Schafer the one where, if I remember correctly, the father was being sued by his wife because the wife wanted to transform his son into a daughter, and the wife had the judge and a teacher on her side, and they tried to arrest him. Isn't that it?
Chaos! This is 325,000 likes. This is 34 million views.
No. Different thing
What
altogether.
is
Sorry.
happening? Hunter Schafer reveals that her new passport now lists her sex as male instead of female. Oh no.
So?
Oh god.
How many people are going to look at people's passports on a date? Yay, hi miss, how you doing? Can I see your passport?
This is the drama.
It's a nothing
I'm not
burger.
making this post to fearmonger or create drama or receive consolation. I don't need to. I do think it's worth posting this sort of...
Hello, internet. I don't really post much these days, but I had a bit of a harsh reality check today and felt like it's important to share with whoever is listening. So I'm sure most of us remember on, I think, the first day of Trump's presidency, he signed an executive order to declare only 2 genders recognized by the state, male and female, assigned at birth.
Recognized by the government, but yeah.
I mean, he also made sure that men can't compete against women, and they can't change against, can't share the changing room with women, which is nice.
And as a result of this, which I wrote down because I want to get it right, the Bureau of Consular Affairs has frozen passport applications requesting a gender marker change or renewals or new applications with a gender marker differing from an applicant's gender assigned at birth. So my initial reaction to this, because our president, there's a lot of talk, was like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Why wouldn't you believe it? Okay, whatever. Anyway,
because a lot of people thought that Trump was going to be like Biden, says one thing, doesn't promise. Remember, there's that whole situation where people were looking for the student debt forgiveness, and when the time came, they couldn't give it. Yeah.
Passport number, male. All right, that's the whole drama. That's the drama.
That's all. It's
we are never going to stop existing and never going to stop being trans. A letter on my passport won't change that. So why are you so upset? I don't understand. If it's who you are, then why the fuck are you so mad that a letter changed on your passport? Again, I don't think anyone actually cares what people decide to do with their own private life. People don't care what you do with your private life. People just don't want to actually be fucking sucked in and forced.
It's the truth. They don't want to be put into it. They just want it to be... That's it. That's all.
To change their outlook on the world or their verbiage or what they say. Who cares? This is such an
At the end of the day, a normal trans person, they get up, they shower, they put their clothes on, they get in their vehicle. Doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you drive, whatever. You get in your vehicle. You get to work. You work. You're bored of work. You come home. You eat yourself a meal. You watch yourself some TV or computer. And then you go to sleep. And you do the whole damn thing tomorrow. They don't want to do anything extra to jeopardize the simple pattern of life.
Relevant thing, I think, at least from my perspective. Again, I don't have this issue, so maybe I'm being cringe about it. Maybe I'm being lame about it, all right? Because I don't have this specific issue. What the fuck do you care if a letter on your passport changes?
Today's video is sponsored by Incogni. I hope you all liked the very dramatic introduction that I tried to execute for this video. I'm trying to do something different, okay? I expect all of you to tell me in the comments that I am the Lord of Editing.
God damn, Lord of Editing!
I shall scream. Anyway, as many of you know who've been around this channel for a number of years, I have continually brought you stories concerning the transgender movement and its weird cousin, the gender ideology movement. Ooh. Although at this point, they're more like conjoined twins, just fused together to bring the rest of us suffering.
Yeah, because it's an ideology. That's most of the people that push this shit don't actually even feel anything themselves different. It's just it's a virtue signaling thing. You need to be the type of guy that'll stand on your platform and shout at the people about how wholesome and inclusive you are.
But I have always believed that had these ideologies simply stayed on Reddit and on Tumblr and in the recesses of academia,
don't forget
things might have turned out.
And in your own house. Again, no one actually, I think, is that upset or frustrated when someone lives a lifestyle themselves that doesn't affect anybody else. No one cares. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Just don't push shit on other people in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's the most basic shit ever.
Out differently. But no. But for the last decade or so, the conjoined twins have been beating down the door of every single institution, both politically, medically, socially, and basically calling for out.
At the end of the day, we just don't want extra shit on our door. That's all. We just want to live life, and that's it. Example, yesterday, to make sure I'd have my day off, I helped a co-worker of mine cover for a day. I'm not lying to you. My co-worker, I thought, did the same exact amount of work as me. No, they do about 10 hours a day. I do about 8 hours a day. But those 2 extra hours really kicked my ass. But the worst part is, the building that he works at, there's a person who's trans. And they seem like a good person, but the problem is, towards the end of the shift, they were like, well, you're doing all this for them. Can you at least help me out to take some of these heavy boxes to the garbage can outside? I said, what is your name? And he said his name was Melissa. And it's like, Melissa, I'm here only to cover the clients that are under my company. I almost said my company's name. I'm not here to do any additional work. You're not part of the plan. You're not part of the care. You're able to walk. The person I'm taking care of has to be in a wheelchair and a scooter. So I can't help you with that. Then they had this look. Like, the only reason why I said no was because of what they are. I mean, if you don't play into their fantasy of what they are, they go angry. At the end of the day, a normal person just wants to do their work and be done. They don't want to do extra if they don't have to, or they don't get any benefit from it.
Outright submission from absolutely everyone.
True.
Through force.
I mean, look, I know that I have a doctor in my family. I know, big shock, Nux, Jewish guy has a doctor in their family. It's crazy. Doctor in my family that works in an emergency room, and someone came in, like, after getting into, like, a car accident. I don't remember what actually happened. They went into the emergency room. They needed crazy surgery and stitches and x-rays and everything. And, you know, the person was barely speaking, okay, because they were, like, injured. And my cousin, the doctor, is writing the fucking medical charts, and it says sex, and she just writes male because, you know, the person had a penis, and they're just wheeling the guy into fucking different rooms. And a lawsuit was threatened for writing male on the medical chart.
Oh my god.
That's insane. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking fascist. That's crazy. What the fuck? Are you serious? Threatened a lawsuit for that? For that? Like, bro, you have got to be delusional. It was thrown out because it's obviously delusional, but it's stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, and against all logic and reason, this ideology, these ideologies, have become mainstream. I really, really wish it had all stayed on Tumblr. As things have accelerated, I have
Germany, 2 trans-identified male inmates housed in women's prisons were transferred out after threatening female inmates. Weird.
Told you stories about violent male criminals housed with female inmates.
I mean, I saw this story. I looked this up on a previous stream. Someone in my chat told me about it. I couldn't believe it. Apparently, there were trans people that went to court. I mean, no one knew they were trans, okay? Everyone thought they were male. And then they said, we are actually trans. So they ended up going to a female prison, and then they impregnated their roommates.
Yeah.
And raped a bunch of women in female
prisons. How's that normal?
And it's like, again, when it comes to an ideology that you have that is, you know, your own lifestyle, I don't give a fuck. But when it's affecting other people, then honestly, your personal rights do not trump anyone else's personal rights.
I've walked you through the many, many ways this ideology.
In fact, a 2018 study found that many vulva owners, as a result, many heterosexual vulva owners, they can't say woman. Bro, they can't say woman. Oh my god, that's crazy. No. Oh god.
Ideology has attacked and erased women and motherhood. I've told you about men beating the snot out of women in women's sports, and how this movement has destroyed our entire comprehension of the English language so that we might accommodate the Zims and their chest feeding and chemical—
Chest feeding? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. This is insane.
Induced
If
nipple
my
discharge.
grandmother was alive right now, she'd be losing it.
Oh, all those vagina havers over there. Them and their nipple discharge.
Yeah, I bet that's an image you're glad I put in your head.
Actually, yes, it is. I happen to very much like nipple discharge. Me and Homelander, we got a lot in common, like I say. Nipple discharge for days, boy.
Pour that.
What's a vulva owner? A woman!
I am sorry, that's a lot. So with that in mind, what will come as a surprise to none of you is that this—
Yeah, people had enough. That's the surprise. Turns out people actually had enough of borderline fascist enforcement of rules, forcing you to change normal fucking words.
Ideology, these movements have finally pushed things way too far. And now they get to see the fruits of their labor come to fruition.
Yeah, because honestly, they pushed it too far, and now no one actually has any sympathy for this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'll be real, all right? When this all started, if someone says, if I say, "Thank you, sir," and they say, "Excuse me, it's ma'am," you know what I would say? "Sorry, excuse me, ma'am." Because look, I want to get on with my day. I don't want to fucking offend anybody.
Exactly, that's
all right?
it. 1, 2, 3,
And I
that's
think
it.
that's what most reasonable people would do if that just happened to them on the street. But now that it's like an ideology that's forcing speech down your throats, forcing you to conform to actual retardation
Making a simple
shit,
everyday day
no one
turn
wants
much
to
more
do that
difficult.
anymore. No buckling at all to something that your values go against for whatever reason. And like, it's the same shit in video games, right? It started off with, yeah, we're only gonna change the lore of certain video games every once in a while. It's no big deal. Oh, why do you care that they, they changed the races of different characters in the remakes? Like, what does that really matter? It's the same game. What do you care if now there are female custodies in Warhammer 40k and we changed the lore a little bit? All these little things, you're right, they don't matter in a vacuum. But on principle, even if it's irrelevant, no more buckling to bullshit, because it just opens the floodgates for them to be more fascist with their overreach, and they will destroy everything.
Let them cook.
Everything. And that's the craziest shit that happens. Like, it starts with, female custodies, and then it ends with the transgender emperor of mankind funding gay orgies in Nepal. All right, listen, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? You cannot buckle. They say no plastic straws, only paper straws. I will use 2 plastic straws in every drink.
In ways that they didn't quite expect. As most of you likely know—
Oh my god, it's orange, it's Drumpf. It's Drumpf.
Since day 1 of his presidency—
Day 1. From this moment forward, there will only be one gender. Bet you didn't see that one coming. One gender. We will call them gay. Gay people everywhere. A single gender. No more discussion.
Donald Trump has signed several executive orders that walk back some of the—
No more men and female sports, because there's only one gender now. Single-gendered gladiatory sports. It's gonna be crazy.
The insanity integrated into U.S. society over the last decade or so. The first was an executive order—
No more women. We're keeping men. We're just removing one.
Oh God.
We did a little trolling.
Stating that the U.S. government will only recognize 2 sexes. As an aside to—
Actually, he said 2 genders, not 2 sexes.
I find it endlessly embarrassing that we needed someone to sign an executive order stating that there are only 2 sexes, given that this is something that we have understood forever. It is odd that the last 10 years or so has completely eliminated all logic and reason.
Crazy how that happened.
I struggle with this. The second executive order will essentially remove transgender and gender ideology weirdos from military service.
I mean, listen, I'm not saying this as like a dunk. This is not an insult. Because I swear, I don't mean this as an insulting way at all. I'm just telling you like a literal statistic. In fact, I'm not even going to tell you the statistic. I'll just show you the statistic.
Are you going to show us the video?
Apparently, more than 40% of transgender people are suicidal. I'm not saying that this is everybody, obviously, but any group of people.
The reason why this is a thing is a person will just go in there with the idea without going for support, without going with the true... Oh, my model's messing up. A person will say his name is Jerry. Jerry wakes up and wants to be Jane. Now, the proper way to do it, you have to talk about it. You have to seek psychotherapy in a way. And you have to speak to groups, people that have done this, that went through the full process. Then there's this whole process of you have to embrace the idea of it before you can just go into it. At the time, people, if they joined the military, they skipped 90% of all that, got the surgery pretty much for free if they stayed in there long enough. And they were just, that was it. But because you skipped the important stuff, your mind was not there. And then one day, Jane wakes up and she's like, where's my penis? What did I do to my chest? What's wrong with me? I'm not happy. I don't like myself anymore. They wake up. And they wake up to what they've become. Almost like Frankenstein's monster. And they can't cope with it. Then it's either drugs or death.
With a suicide rate that high, should not be in the military. The military is like an incredibly stressful environment. Like a literally insanely stressful environment. And I don't think any group of people that has a suicide rate like that should be in the military. Regardless.
Rightly pointing out that the military's existing policy excludes people who have medical conditions and physical defects. The third executive order will end gender-based mutilation of minors.
This is like incredibly based. I love how everyone goes out there, kids can't consent, and everyone's like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And then it's like, all right, now we're gonna cut their cocks off.
And
yeah, kids can't consent. They can't consent to go with older adults. When they're just infants. They can't consent to have themselves mutilated that way. Wait until they're about to turn to an adult. And then if they want to do it, by all means, let them do it. But don't let them do it under the age of 15. Because they're going to ruin their life. And they might kill themselves if they don't have the proper way of undoing mentally. Not about physically. Mentally is the issue.
In his most recent move, Trump signed a fourth executive order banning men from women's sports.
Again, this is the most obvious basic bitch shit in the universe. And everyone who opposes this is literally dying on an insane hill. Like an actually insane hill to die on. Because men and women, from birth,
say it,
have different biologies, okay? Men and women,
sorry.
And if they got into a fight, man versus woman, statistically, the man will beat the ever-loving shit out of the woman. So taking a biological male, because they put a different name tag on, now they can beat the shit out of women. Again.
Okay. Those that watch, just take this next few words I'm about to say and change them around just and add a little bit extra. When you hear reports about men doing rap battles to women, you don't usually hear about women doing rap battles to men. Studies, reports, things online you read, it's mostly men that do rap battles to women. Okay? Now add an E to that. Okay? There you go. You don't hear the other way around. You don't hear a bunch of women going into rap battles on men. It's always the other way around. Don't they realize that? They don't. They just don't care. They do, but they just don't care.
In my opinion, if
Trump says right, they go left.
Live and let live. I don't mind what the fuck you do on your own time. But holy fuck, it's impeding on the rights of women.
Yeah.
What is happening?
This common sense action from President Trump ends the disgusting betrayal of women and girls by the previous administration, who for years...
By the way, she sued The View and won for defamation. Just so you know. So there is good in this world.
Catered to radical activists who wanted biological males to be treated as women in workplace showers, competitive sports, prisons, and even rape shelters.
Once again, unsurprising to none of you, this has caused a lot of screaming from
Lots
the
of
usual
screaming.
suspects.
It's crazy.
Don't forget, there was also a massage parlor-like place. It's like it's supposed to be a woman's spa, and this guy wanted to go in there, and and I think it was an African American, and he wanted to go in there as a woman, and they said they don't. On certain days, they don't allow men in there. He didn't care because in his eyes, he was a woman. So he wanted to pretty much... Now, the women that do the massages for the other women, that's one thing. That's like home field advantage, I guess you'd call it that. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this without getting in trouble. Because all it takes is one person out there to be like, oh, this person said something terrible. You should destroy their entire channel. But, yeah, these women have home field advantage with other women, so they know how to do stuff. A woman does not want to go and massage a man who looks like he could overpower and beat the shit out of her. Or worse.
People are even mad about this. Again, I feel like every single person that thinks this is stupid, I think all of those people need to be looked into. Honestly. Their rights to vote should be revoked. We should go fascist on these people. Hell yeah, dude. People are going to take that out of context. I'm obviously joking.
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
But with all of this said, and with everything that I'm about to lay out in the rest of this video, I want to make one key crucial point that basically summarizes why we're talking about this.
All right.
These executive orders have obviously resulted in a ton of screaming. But the people doing the screaming...
Public meltdowns, baby! That's what we're here for.
Haven't stopped for a single second to realize that they did this to themselves. So I'm going to walk you through what led us to this point.
Let's go, dude.
And it's terrible.
Right, and we got to do this. We got to look into the downfall time.
I'm sorry in advance. But you want to know what I'm not sorry about? You protecting your
internet
privacy.
Today's sponsor.
It's insane. Cogni also risk. I would argue link code that most of us, me included, started off pretty indifferent to all of this. I can only speak for myself, but I've always been pretty live and let live. You want to call yourself
again? I think
like a
this
normal
is just
person.
what most people did. You want to do whatever you want to do in your own private time. I don't give a fuck. I really feel like that's what most people feel. You know, like I don't care.
And live as one. Okay, no skin off my nose. You want to call yourself a Zim in your weird online community away from me? Okay, you do you.
Listen, you want a furry role play? Again, I don't give a shit. Do it.
Nux? Okay. First of all, don't mention furries. I forgot. Okay, so here's a little lore drop about Raka. I was at an anime convention in Texas one time. I was cosplaying as Pyramid Head, based on the movie version, not the video game version. And yeah, so I'm leaving Artist Alley. I think I bought myself a Bleach poster or something of that sort. And I hear the words, "What time is it?" And then I'm looking around because I'm thinking maybe it's some kind of event going on with the convention. And then I hear a bunch of people say, "It's rapping time." Add an extra letter. And without realizing it, I'm in the center getting dry humped by 8 fox furries. I never had anything like that happen to me before. That was a very traumatizing thing. All I kept doing was holding the big helmet, the Pyramid's Head helmet, so that way it doesn't break. And after like 10 seconds, they were gone. But that was like the longest 10 seconds of my life. So furries, they may seem like great people, but just keep them away from me. Plain and simple. So Nux, don't talk about furries.
Whatever you want. In your private life,
Off
you
subject.
can do what you want, as long as it doesn't actually affect anyone around you.
It affected me!
I don't care.
You want me to treat most people with decency, even if I don't agree with some of the things that they're doing? Obviously, unless those things are illegal, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Then, sure. That's fine. I can do that.
I don't
But
care.
you see, the problem is these activists and the people in these movements have put.
Like, it's literally just happened to me. I bought pizza, and I was walking away from, like, and there was
pizza right now would
leftovers.
be a good idea
We
for
got
my birthday.
like 2 pies for 2 people, which was not a smart move, but we wanted to try both pies. So we bought both pies. There was leftover pizza. I'm walking away. I'm holding the pizza box, and there was a homeless person on the street that, like, you know, stopped me to ask me for money. And I was like, you know what? This is fresh pizza. And I gave them the pizza. I just handed them
That's
the pizza
nice.
box. Like, would you like this? The person said, like really? Like, is this fresh? And I was like, yeah, I just got it right now. And the person said, oh, thank you. I said, all right, have a nice day, sir. And she stopped me and said, it's ma'am. I said, have a good day, ma'am. And I walked away. And it's like, I'm not gonna fucking fight with a random homeless person on pronouns after I literally just gave them fucking pizza for free. Okay? Like, but at the same time, no one gives a shit. It was pineapple pizza, so ha!
Also, be fucking grateful. Someone's actually giving you something.
That bitch is eating ass. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't pineapple pizza. I'm not that evil.
Push people like me and probably a lot of you way too far. Somewhere along this psycho road, this stopped being about decency and the tenets of live and let live and became about forcing compliance, compelling speech, forcing women especially into situations that are unsafe.
In the comments below, tell me the one thing that really burns you when you hear something of that sort. To me, I think the term cis female really irritates me.
Safe or make us feel deeply and inherently uncomfortable. And so the acceleration.
Listen, women's rights are important unless they're Israeli women or they're women that are abused by biological men. Otherwise, women are all valid. Hot take.
Of this forced compliance and these crazy situations have forced people like me, the people who've long been in the middle, just floating around being pretty indifferent, right over the edge of the cliff.
That's it, baby.
So now,
But radicalization works both ways. On the one hand, you could have a far-right guy radicalizing you to become far-right, or you could have a far-left retard pushing you to become more far-right. I'm just saying, it works both ways.
no, I won't use your preferred pronouns. I don't want men in women's bathrooms and locker rooms, no matter how much of a wallflower that man is.
So fucking based right there. So fucking based right there.
I no longer.
Also, funny story, when I tried to start streaming, people were telling me put pronouns. I said, what's the most basic for man? And they told me put he, him. And when the time came, I didn't like it. I got rid of it. So whenever someone comes into my stream and asks me what my pronouns are, I'm just a regular guy. That's all I am. If you got pronouns, I'll respect you. I'll try to remember, but don't put that stuff on me.
Longer believe that the Zirzims are harmless internet dorks. I see them as people perpetuating genuine mental illness.
Like, and this is the crazy thing. I feel like this is the public opinion at this point. People are so frustrated and fed up with being told how to think, what to do, to actively endangering other people because it happens. Maybe it statistically doesn't happen that much, but it happens too much. And no one wants to do any of this shit.
It's true.
The support of politicians and academia and the medical community and basically every other institution under the sun.
I mean, dude, Neil deGrasse Tyson was a respected astrophysicist, okay? But he somehow thinks that biological men do not have an advantage in women's sports if they're transgender, okay? That is when science died.
So if you're here watching this, part of this group of people, wondering why it seems that everyone turned on you so quickly, or if you're like me and you're like, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, this was always going to get like this, but Sydney, please tell me more, I'm gonna walk you all through how we ended up at this exact spot in time. And of course, it all started very subtly and insidiously.
Transgender lore dive. What has happened to us?
As these things so often do. In the early 2010s, progressive companies, HR departments, departments and universities around North America started adopting preferred pronoun policies. The University of Michigan...
Look, it all starts with a tickle. It all starts with a trickle before it ends up a waterfall.
And, for example, introduced a system in 2013 allowing students to designate pronouns, he, she, ze, zer, on class rosters.
Yeah, but why the fuck should children be able to do this? Like, it's crazy. It's insane. Iraq just approved 9-year-old child brides. Bro, why is that relevant? Yes, they did do that, and that's pretty fucked up. Agreed. You know why? Because children can't consent. And you know what that entails? Consenting. They shouldn't be able to become Z-Zers, Z-Zims, go on puberty blockers, and whatever the other fuck happens.
With the expectation that professors comply with this self-identification. Employees were also encouraged to add pronouns to their email signatures.
So firstly, let's start with why we do use pronouns in our signatures. Here is the inclusive employers. Well, not to only show support and solidarity for our transgender and non-binary friends and our acceptance of all genders, but to hopefully ease the burden of our trans and non-binary colleagues and the acquaintance from having the same conversations again and again. Being an ally every day is important. Having pronouns in our signature can set a norm and encourage others to do the same. As a society, we're making lives easier by declaring pronouns, letting people identify to eliminate any confusion, and therefore minimizing the chances of annoying anyone being or outed with the risk of burden whatsoever to I hate that term, cisgender. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Particular companies. The concept of non-binary was already swirling
her, what is this?
Around Tumblr and Twitter, but now these fringe identities and psycho-neo pronouns were showing up in the real world. Non-compliance at this point wasn't heavily penalized. Everything was painted as voluntary, but cultural pressure started to accelerate.
Yeah, and that's how it happens, because again, these are victims of society. Society doesn't respect them like they deserve.
Yep.
So therefore, now that they're the victims, they become the main characters. And now that they're the main characters, it's time to use their victimhood to oppress other people.
I'm non-binary, and this is why I use this abbreviation and not this one.
What the fuck?
Today I'm going to show you how to use a-air pronouns in sentences.
What?
So let's go. A-air pronouns are a form of neopronouns, and
they're a form of neopronouns, like xenopronouns.
I thought that said xenomorph there for half a second.
Noun self-pronouns. Emoji self-pronouns. Dog, at what point is it a mental illness?
oh my goodness, isn't that just so beautiful?
So one of the unexpected parts about being a tall trans femme.
Oh god. Oh
What are the unexpected parts of being a...
You know what? Before I end the night, I have a very small bottle of Kraken rum. I'm gonna drink it. I'm gonna drink it, and then I'm gonna pass out.
Tall trans femme? Is that when I walk into women's bathrooms, they all get scared of me?
Because the amount of times I'll be walking behind a woman on the streets and I'll like, skirt around because I got long legs and places to be. And then they're like scared because they think that I'm a man. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm on your team.
Bye.
They don't care if you're on their team. They want you to get the fuck out of the bathroom so they can go pee.
Wait. One of the funny things about being a trans femme is that you could stalk women and they'll be terrified because they think it's a man stalking them, when in actuality it's just a girl with a penis and a beard stalking them. Ha! Epic troll. What is going on? Oh my god, that's terrifying.
In 2013, Australia was allowing people to put X as a gender marker on their passport.
Dude, I'm telling you, buckling is the worst. You give a finger, they want a hand. Never twist your own ideals. because at some point it'll be too late.
This was adopted by other places around the world. News outlets like The Guardian and NPR started running pieces about non-binary identities, confusingly using they to refer to these people. By 2014, Laverne Cox appeared on the cover of Time magazine with the headline, "The Transgender Tip."
Wait, so this is a trans woman whose name is Cox? Like...
You have the surgery to change. Why don't you change your name? That's a very big Cox. I'll leave now.
Not trying to, like, say anything here, anything.
I know, Nux. I know.
Tipping point. Just a year later, we had Jazz Jennings on everyone's screen, the young boy who was marked as transgender and going through a very, very public transition. Celebrities like Miley Cyrus were coming out as genderqueer, and at this time too, misgendering someone online, calling a trans-identified male he, which you still really can't do here on YouTube, triggered intense viral outrage.
Oh look, it's ma'am! No, it's ma'am! I'll show you, sir!
Doxing, social ostracism, and even job loss. Social media platforms were banning people left, right, and center, and honestly, they still kind of are.
Can you explain why misgendering is an act of violence?
A Christian teacher who...
It's not an act of violence. It's not violence. It's not. See, but that's why these people take it to such an extreme.
Don't they realize that, okay, how many of you in the comments below has, like, had the longest day ever? You do your work or you help somebody move and you're so exhausted you just don't know anymore. You're just, all you think about is, can you make it to your couch inside your living room to pass out on? Now imagine someone being angry because you didn't see what they are and you misgendered them by mistake. At the time, you just don't have that. You don't have the time for that bullshit at all.
I know, think it's such an extreme because, like, people say that, okay, so now we are going to start putting, you know, birth assigned, sex assigned at birth on passports. And their response is, that's violence and it's trans genocide. No, it's literally not that at all, okay? It's not that at all. At the very worst, you could say you're offended, but it's not trans genocide. The word genocide has lost all meaning in the last year. I see people using genocide to describe everything, all right? If you call someone that wants to be called a she, if you call them a he, that's not genocide. Oh my God. It's actually mind-boggling how that word has just become a buzzword for people. Hogwarts Legacy was genocide. I genocided lunch today. The word genocide lost all meaning. Literally. 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 Oh my God.
Was banned from teaching for misgendering a pupil, has lost his high court battle.
He got the axe for failing to use a transgender student's preferred pronouns.
The social enforcement was fierce, and the legal enforcement wasn't too far behind. As we saw, that not too long after all of this, UK police were showing up at people's houses to arrest them for misgendering people online.
The UK... How is this not seem like what Germany did many years back? How is this just, oh, I got a headache. Stupidity gives me headaches.
Police is arresting people for misgendering people online. What the fuck? Oh my God. And they wonder why it pushed people over the edge, huh?
By 2016, Canada's Bill C-16 blew up in a major way.
Canada.
The legislation was designed to amend the Canadian Human Rights Act to include gender identity or expression, but all it did was upset people about its propensity for compelled pronoun use. And it gave us Jordan Peterson, who at the time was a professor at the University of Toronto.
Wait, Jordan Peterson was just a professor in Toronto, and then gender pronouns literally pushed him off the edge, and he became And he became a political commentator. That's the craziest fucking Batman arc I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, didn't Heath Ledger's Joker say all it takes is one little push? Yeah.
And who refused patently to use pronouns like zir and they.
Oh my God.
In mentally unwell people.
My head hurts from this.
That's crazy.
I'm legit. My head hurts from this.
Literally. The fucking transgender movement birthed Jordan Peterson. Dog. Dude, that's incredible. They fired him because he wouldn't conform, and they accidentally made one of the biggest right-wing voices in the world. Oh my God. Talk about literally inventing your own enemies.
Lobsters.
In the same year, the U.S. Department of Education issued a directive to public schools that forced them to let trans-identified students use the bathroom and locker room that matched their gender identity. If the schools refused, they risked federal funding cuts. Around the same time, the New York City Commission on Human Rights declared that the refusal...
Again, I feel like it's crazy. Why do some people's quote-unquote rights overwrite other people's rights? Why is it fair for biological women to be terrified in a bathroom or in a locker room or in a boxing rink?
Yeah.
Why should their rights be overwritten by someone else's rights?
Refusal to use a person's preferred pronouns, including zir and here, I haven't heard of here, that's a new one, could be discriminatory under city law with fines up to $250,000 for employers and landlords.
Oh my God.
Just because they don't want to call you
That's
here.
crazy.
It's spelled H-I-R. Yeah, I know, it's very weird. Unsurprising to absolutely none of you, after this, things started to go downhill pretty quickly. While many trans activists continued to argue that they just wanted to be left alone and live their lives.
That's it.
The wider population...
Yeah, I don't think any of the activists say that. I do think that some of the trans, the people that, you know, come out as trans or whatever, I feel like those people just want to, you know, live their own life. But the activists, they're all evil. Gulag! You ruined it for everyone else. Activists are literally ruining shit for the people that they fight for every single time.
was being subjected to both legal and social compliance.
It's like every time I see environmental activists, like, you know, gluing themselves to streets or some shit, I immediately do something to ruin the environment. Such a petty motherfucker. No, I don't actually do that. All right, that was a joke. Unless...
Because of course they were! By 2018, they were pushing to erase women from discussions around pregnancy, motherhood, and menstruation,
that's what I'm
arguing
talking about.
it excluded trans men and non-binary people. They
pregnant people. Why does it do this? Why are we fucking doing this? I don't understand.
pushed to change terms like woman to uterus owner.
Someone in my chat just said, "It's so scary to be in a female locker room and hear a deep male voice. I immediately covered up." Again, why are the rights of this incredibly small minority somehow fair and valid enough to trample the rights of other people? It's crazy.
Or mother to pregnant person. Politicians started adopting this language.
The largest labor union in the country, the National Education Association, had been proposing a resolution for future contracts to replace the word mother with birthing parent.
That was in the White House. They want to change mother to birthing parent. They're still doing this.
Shifted from using the term mother to birthing people.
Health equity for black birthing people.
And birthing people.
Birthing people.
When asked...
What is going on? This is insane. This is crazy. These people are all just terrified to offend Twitter.
American judges couldn't and refused to define what a woman is.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Oh,
they can't.
It's so crazy when people lose their mind over this. The what is a woman question. How does it work every time? It's crazy.
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
What? No.
To be clear, you wrote this.
I cannot, she said. See, if anyone asks me this question, if I ever bump into like Matt Walsh or one of those people and they say to me, "Nux, can you please define woman?" I would say, "Sure, here you go. Take a look at this video."
Oh God.
For those of you curious, this is liberal women scream therapy because Trump was elected. So that's what I would use. All right. If someone says, "What is a woman?" I would just show them that video. Avoid the question entirely. Everyone will know what I mean.
This while you were a sitting judge, 2017, you were on the bench.
That is correct. After a case I had.
So, as I understand it, you don't think that there really is any clear-cut distinction between male and female as biological categories. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
That's what you wrote.
What am I even listening to? How are judges meant to interpret the law when they can't even interpret biology? This is alarming on all the alarming levels. Kind of terrifyingly, this wasn't only a political and social issue. The medical community was starting to participate. Of course, not only in the language changes, but the just kind of...
by the way, people, if you want, have Nux look into content creators on YouTube named Barry and Sugar Tits. I'm pretty sure he can enjoy the content that they do, because I definitely enjoy the content they do.
That's the wild stuff, is when like doctors change their understandings of things in general. Like, again, different doctor in my family. Oh, fuck me. I can never outlive the fucking the Jew connection allegations. All right, so listen. So one of my doctors in my family is an emergency room doctor. Another one is a neurologist. Okay, guys, don't ask questions. Okay, I have a lot of doctors in the family. I am definitely the disappointment here.
Is there a
okay?
doctor in the house?
So, doctor in my family, a neurologist. 20 years ago, there was a disease called gender dysphoria that he treated. Now, let's just say textbooks have changed, and this family member of mine gets very in difficult situations sometimes. I'm just saying, this is what I've heard, okay?
General mass delusion that was taking place. People in the scientific communities started insisting that there were more than two sexes, tying themselves in knots trying to justify this position.
Nux has a big family. I don't have a big family. They're just all doctors and lawyers.
We ended up with terms like sex assigned at birth and the insistence even from some outfits that men...
Let's talk about pregnant men. Yes, they exist. Oh, yeah?
I literally held my breath as soon as I read that the whole time. Oh my god. I need alcohol after this. Seriously.
I will define man! And then they're cooked. It's over. Like, that's the craziest thing. Like, these articles are so fun. Let's talk about pregnant men. Yes, they exist. Okay, so how do you define man then?
Can give birth.
Do you believe then that men can become pregnant and have abortions?
Yes.
Dr. Kumar, can biological men
that's a doctor. That's a
become pregnant and give birth?
Holy shit, did he hear his question? Could biological men? Like, he is teeing them up.
So men can have pregnancies, especially trans men.
Can men get pregnant?
Why did he change that question? Why did he change the question?
Pregnant.
I'm not aware of it.
Okay. Well, Mr. Secretary, materials coming from your department, you've referred to mothers as birthing persons.
Oh, she got him in a trap. She trapped him. She trapped him. If he doesn't think men can be pregnant, then why are they called birthing people instead of mothers? Ooh, checkmate.
That title with...
Are mothers not persons?
Mothers are persons, but it seems to be more inclusive, like you're trying to include another gender in that.
I'm all about inclusion, Congresswoman. By the way.
My name
Oh my god.
is Danny. I'm a non-binary.
What the?
Birther. For those of you who don't know, I gave birth to my child 20 months ago at home. It was beautiful. It was a spiritual experience. Congratulations.
Wait, you're...
I've had spiritual experiences in my life. None of them were giving birth in my home.
Thank you. I did it as a non-binary person, not as a woman, just to be very clear.
Some medical...
Hold on.
I've had spiritual experiences in my life. None of them were giving birth in my home.
Thank you. I did it as a non-binary person,
Not it.
I think we found our thumbnail. Print screen. Yeah. That is definitely the thumbnail right there. Oh. I mean, we've all had experiences after eating Taco Bell when you were desperate and you barely make it to the bathroom.
Is a woman, just to be very clear.
Some medical professionals.
Oh my God.
Professionals have insisted and continue to insist that there is no difference between trans-identified males and a female when it comes to female sports.
Well, that's just factually wrong. I hate when people like literally throw facts in the garbage.
I mean,
that
you can just check out the evidence and everything, and then you see the truth right there.
Men should be allowed to compete against women, giving us the likes of Leah Thomas and other athletes who have stolen opportunities and wins from female competitors.
I love when this is brought up because almost everyone says, oh, but it's so rare though. I'm pretty sure 890 trophies were won by trans people in female sports. 800, that's a lot of trophies, right? That's a lot of trophies.
Field. In June, a complaint was filed by the families of 3 girls who say allowing transgender athletes to compete in sports as the gender they identify with unfairly discriminates against their daughters.
But I also...
It's so weird how there are no trans men in men's sports, though. Have you noticed that there's no transgender athletes in men's sports?
Nope.
It's kind of weird how that happened. Probably a coincidence.
don't need anybody's permission to be myself and to do the sport that I love.
So yeah, no one's again, no one cares what you do in your own private time. No one's forcing you to not play soccer because you're transgender or because you consider yourself non-binary or whatever, any of that shit. No one wants to stop you from playing sports, okay? It's just competing with people in a way that it eradicates their rights.
Can we say it like this? Men couldn't cut it against other men. They couldn't get good. So when the time came, they decided to become intelligence users and then go against women. And then guess what? Then they got good against women. All it is cheating. Put them against the men that they left the group against. Because these first place men in women's sports were like the lowest of the low on the totem pole. They couldn't get good, so they cheat.
So, like this idea that, like, oh, you're not a biological woman. Well, I am a woman. That's a fact. I am.
Do you have to be the stereotype with the glasses? Couldn't you just own a regular pair of glasses? You have to be the stereotype with the multi-rainbow color? At this point, I think people are just making a mockery of the LGBT. That's LGBT T and Q. I forget all the terms. Again, I haven't really slept since 1 a.m. yesterday. But I just feel like they take the identity and then they're spitting on the people that actually accept it and just want to exist.
Female. So all my identity records, my racing license, my medical records all say female, right? And I'm pretty sure I made a biological stop. So I'm a biological female.
That's the great.
Does anyone else feel like after they talk, you lose a brain cell? Every time a psycho speaks, an angel loses his brain cell and then loses its wings, and then people start losing their brain cells.
Greatest argument I've ever heard. I am biologic, and I identify as female. So I mean, there we go. I guess I'm made out of stuff, huh? That's right.
Well,
I can't say what
science, bitch.
I want to say here. I will get banned from YouTube. I was actually quite happy earlier when I read this article saying that the asteroid that's set to hit our planet in a couple years will probably not hit it anymore.
Give me the
and
asteroid!
Then I watched this clip,
bring it back!
Or if God could push the reset button and fix things. I know my father wouldn't have no problem with that because he literally jokes about the reset button every single day.
For the meteor.
Yeah.
By this time, TikTok was in full swing.
Okay. No.
Give me the asteroid.
This clip
Bring it
and
back!
Now I yearn for the meteor.
Yeah.
By this time,
this person right here, he's like one step away from being one of those like creepy suicidal cults. That is my honest to God opinion on this person here. 3 ways to disrespect your elders. He pretty much wants children to pull away from their parents. That way they can go to this sick fuck right here. Let me know if I can get 5 people to ask about this Marsh person in the comments. I will find the best video, or if someone has the best video on there now, and I will react to it. Or if Nux did a video about this person here, I will react to it. But this person here, he's one of the psychos on there. He's like that Lily person. But at least Lily is keeping it contained to a point. This one here has went to an extreme that's like, looks like the priest from Poltergeist 2. Like, the God is in his holy temple. That kind of bullshit.
TikTok was in full swing.
Fuck, I'm
You
old.
TikTok.
all know how much I love TikTok. And it became a breeding ground for mental illness and all of this gender insanity. Young people were ideologically captured, and all of this started showing.
This is the worst
Yeah, that was oh God.
Relation I've ever seen in my life.
Up much more in schools and in.
Oh.
You are a fucking asshole. I don't know who you are, but the fact that you're using your child for clickbaiting makes you a fucking asshole.
Oh, no, Dad, I'm trans for a little girl. Come on, dude.
Universities and in the medical field, where kids were insisting that they were something other than their sex. To answer this growing demand, gender clinics started popping up all over the place. Doctors made lighthearted TikToks talking about performing double mastectomies on healthy young people.
Gender clinics across the country have seen a huge rise in child referrals.
Our journey with a trans.
Why should children be like, even if you're the most hardcore leftist on the planet, how could you do this to children, bro? How can you do this? They can't consent to shit. They can't drink, they can't drive, they can't vote, they can't.
Children are very vulnerable. They're very vulnerable. They're not protected properly. The good parents out there will protect their child with their own life. The bad parents out there, fucking shameful. I was reading a story about how this man and woman, Caucasian male, African American female, she has a lot of kids. The Caucasian male beat one of those kids to death. Beat him right to death. And they left the body in the room to decompose with the other siblings. And the mother, the piece of shit mother, would throw supplies in the room and then leave them. Children are not protected enough. A good parent will do whatever they can to protect their child. It's like this scene in Orville I was watching. I only discovered Orville recently. But with the male alien, when he found out that his alien daughter was tortured and cut by another one of its race, and he asked him, "Did you do this to my daughter?" And he didn't have a chance to respond. He beat the shit out of him, and he had one eye. After he finished with him, he didn't have an eye. All I kept thinking is, that's what a parent would do if they were pushed to that point. The rage for their child. Children need to be protected better. I mean, god damn it.
Go to the military. But they could consent to get their dick snipped off? Like, this is insanity. It makes no logical sense.
It's gross.
Transgender child.
You know, we've seen staggering growth in gender medical treatment for children.
My name is Ella, and I'm 7 years old, and I'm transgender.
Dog, a 7-year-old doesn't even need to know what transgender means. What is going on?
Do you know what I was at 7 years old? Here's how stupid I was back then. Do you know what plate holders are? Those little things that they have like an L shape that they separate and you can put a plate on them to like display. When I was little, I used to pretend that was a gun, a space gun. Kids don't know what the fuck they're doing and what they want. Who here has had a Barbie doll and made it into like a G.I. Joe type monster type doll thing? I doubt I'm the only one in the universe that's done something like that. But we don't know what the fuck we're doing at that age. When it was snowing, I used to hide in the snow versus hiding from in like the shed or behind a tree. I used to hide in the snow back in Massachusetts. Because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Stock Institute was prescribing puberty blockers to people as young as 10, insisting children must be gender affirmed early on, lest they go and, you know, do horrible.
The worst part is those have side effects to the body that's it's unrepairable. You will get special kinds of aches and pains. You will start mentally attacking yourself without realizing it, because then you feel like you're stuck in a prison, and that prison is your own making. It's terrible. Without the proper psychology, it's terrible. You are literally prisoning yourself.
Things to themselves. The insanity was absolutely everywhere, coming at us from all sides. And rather than seeing this, rather than identifying the growing backlash and anger and frustration coming from the wider population and trying to be understanding, the trans activist gender movement people instead decided to double down. Wow, that's...
Yeah, that always
triple
works,
down.
guys. The best way to be accepted in society is to be a nuisance to everyone around you. That's right. That'll make everyone accept and love you so much more.
So crazy. I can't believe they did that. That's just
Didn't see that
totally
coming.
unexpected for
Again, you give a finger, they want a hand. That's how it works.
Threats from trans-identified males towards women they
Decapitate TERFs? No shot you're having trans women actually threatening the lives of women.
My God.
Oh my God.
Yet the right is the party of hate. The right is the party of bigotry. You can't make this shit up.
God. What is happening? Actual clown world. What is TERFs? I don't know. It's women that don't like trans people or something. Oh, God. Oh, fuck.
What is TERFs?
This is crazy.
Actually,
how is this not incitement of violence? Like actual...
Hold on. What is TERFs? I'm curious now. What is the transgender term for TERFs? What is the transgender term for TERFs? Trans exclusionary radical feminist. Exclusionary radical feminist. I wish I didn't know that. I regret
Criminal
everything.
shit. God damn. Nux, did you consent to having your dick snipped at 8 days? Yeah, well, a circumcision doesn't actually fucking affect shit. It doesn't change anything. Actually chopping it off and doing a whole ass surgery, that's very different.
Label as hateful became
TERF stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. Radical feminists. Yeah, the radical feminists that don't want trans men to be
Trans woman, age 44, who threatened to kill, blind, and break the backs of women's rights campaigners Kelly J. Keene and Helen Joyce is given suspended jail sentences after court hears it happened during the mental health struggle.
the shit out of you.
commonplace. Images of women being hanged with captions like "dead TERFs" or "kill a TERF" have
How is
circulated
this okay? How could decapitate TERFs trend?
across the internet, cheered on by so many. While they scream about just wanting acceptance, they fail to
Dude, this is awful.
I punish TERFs. Kill the TERFs. Kill the TERFs. Kill the TERFs. This one looks like they've been in trial for murder. This one looks like they're going to steal a child from a park. This one looks like they're going to flee the country. And this one looks like they want to speak to your manager.
Oh my god.
in the worst actors among them, including those perpetuating
And you wonder why women want this
rhetoric.
away from them.
It's crazy. If you're on the good side of history, according to them, you can do literally anything. If you're on the bad side of history, you should be executed. Imagine women saying kill trans people in public. They would be imprisoned for hate crimes. Like, holy shit.
They come here and be really
I mean, let's face it. You have people that do horrible things and their families get away with it. They get money for it. And then you have our cosplay terrorist, Hassan Piker, who says America deserved a 9/11, and he don't get punished for it. And yes, that is my term for Hassan Piker, the cosplay terrorist.
fluffy and be really nice and say, yeah, be
I would
really
love to hear
lovely
Nux
and
call him
queer
a
and gay.
cosplay terrorist.
No, if you see a TERF, punch him in the fucking face.
T-shirts with messages
God
like
damn.
trans rights or else and
This is insane. It's crazy. What if I had an ideology that wasn't accepted by a lot of people and I said we should fight my ideology literally with force? Look, what can I say? Our taxpayer dollars going to USAID going to good work.
and protect trans kids with images of knives or guns have been seen at trans protests across the country. Countless stories about males exposing themselves to women and young girls in locker rooms and bathrooms have made headlines. Images of knives or guns have been seen at trans protests across the country. Countless stories.
Oklahoma transgender student charged with assaulting female high school classmate in bathroom. Transgender Wyoming woman convicted of assaulting a 10-year-old girl in the bathroom.
Stories about males exposing
Another transgender student flashed 4 freshman girls in their locker room after a swim class in Wisconsin.
themselves to women.
Transgender woman, biological male. Doesn't finish the rest. Transgender suspect threatens to rap and inject HIV in people wearing crosses.
Women and young girls in locker rooms and bathrooms.
Male inmate convicted of rapping female at Rikers Island Women Facility. A male inmate identifying as a woman has been convicted of rapping a female woman's facility at Rikers Island complex in New York. Ramal Blount, who goes by the name Diamond Blount, received a sentence, can't see how many years, Nux, post-release supervision after pleading guilty to attempted rape. Male rapist who identifies as female jailed for assaulting females.
Bathrooms have made headlines.
Rapist guilty of attacking women before, I'm guessing, gender surgery.
Met with silence from trans activists.
Sexual predator jailed after claiming to blank to assault women in a shelter.
This, of course. Incidences.
And you wonder why women in UK fought tooth and nail to keep them away. You wonder why Trump made sure there's only 2 genders and to keep them out of women's sports and girls' sports.
Of women being essayed by trans-identified males in prison have gone ignored by the community that fights for their inclusion at the...
No shit, obviously. No one wants to talk about the... No one wants to tell you news that goes against your message. Rather, just close your ears to atrocities committed by the shit you're promoting. Yeah. Because, hey, that's much better.
Cost of harming women. Even the most hailed trans activists have behaved wildly inappropriately, with one incident making national headlines when Rose Montoya was seen partially naked on the White House lawn in 2023. The message that... everyone who disagrees with you must be a Nazi has eroded any attempts to reach common ground.
I love that, to be honest. I literally love that. I feel like this is like a classic like leftist talking point that literally it pushes everyone away from your cause. It pushes everyone away from your cause. If you don't agree with me, you're a Nazi. That's what they all say. And honestly, that means you don't want a middle ground. Literally, it means you don't want a middle ground. I mean, another example of this is like Israel, for example. Israel offered a 2-state solution to different Palestinian groups 4 times over the last bunch of years, always rejected because they said, no, we don't want any Jews in Israel. That's why it was rejected 4 times. Now, well, why isn't Israel giving a 2-state solution? Like, and it happens every time. If you write your message out, literally you write the message, you say, anyone that doesn't agree with me is a Nazi? Well, why are people gonna want to find a middle ground?
But worse than that, it has emboldened people to continue making violent threats in the name of protecting themselves. Like this video, for example, that circulated in 2023, where a trans-identified individual made several alarming remarks.
I dare you to try and stop me from going into a women's bathroom.
That is a threat.
Sir, if I was still working at Sam's Club back in Texas and you was to try to walk into a woman's bathroom, normally we have a no hands on the customers, but the moment you try, I would have got my supervisor boss, who was in the military, and he would have gave me full permission to throw your ass out and to call the police. With your, I'm gonna break shit, look, shitty grin.
That's terrifying.
It will be the last mistake you ever make. I dare you to try and stop a transgender woman in my presence from using the bathroom.
Holy shit.
It will be the last mistake you ever make. This is a call to action.
That's very, very feminine.
You need to arm up. Plain and
What?
simple. Go out, buy a gun.
That is the most womanly threat I've ever heard.
You need to protect yourself, and you need to protect your fellow transgender brothers and sisters and theys and thems. You need to protect the rest of us in the LGBT community, as I'm going to do myself. Because
what?
Because there are lots of people like me who are not afraid to die.
Bro, this person is gonna get some men's rights and men's lefts right in their face. God damn.
I always find these type of...
They're pro-gun when it's literally killing men.
videos really interesting because they're usually being...
She's not transgender, she's trans fat. Fuck. Oh, shit, stop.
...being made for people who can't even run up a hill. The people that you're...
Let me tell you something. The people in Nux's community are very based. And we're also very tired of being told what to do and what to say. how we're supposed to believe when we believe one thing and we're told that if we believe that way, we're monsters.
To get firearms probably think they're too heavy. It actually just makes me think of an army of David Huggs, and I don't find that particularly intimidating. The notion that someone stopping you from using a bathroom is worthy of physical violence is a direct result of the ideas that trans activists have been spreading for over a decade. That anyone who doesn't abide by the growing insanity of the gender ideology and trans movements is a direct threat.
Wait, that's
growing
insane.
Insanity of the gender ideology and
this is why people can't, like, I feel like sometimes the people that are advocating for this are actually fucking industry plant.
Protect undocumented queers, trans. Oh Lord.
Put there by the other party. This has to be some sort of operative. Protect undocumented queer trans folks? Undocumented queer trans folks. This has to be a psyop, bro.
Trans movements is a direct threat.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The many viral It's Ma'am moments certainly haven't helped bring the public around to accepting
I've seen this clip.
These types of ideas and behaviors.
It's ma'am!
It's ma'am!
It's ma'am!
I'll show you, sir!
Is yelling.
In civil society. Once again, putting it mildly. Say what you want to about the It's Ma'am crowd, but they have given us a lot of very fun videos to laugh at over the years.
Listen, I'm just saying, you can either cry about the state of the world, or you can laugh at the state of the world. Join me! Chaos on this channel. Subscribe for more chaos. It's what we do here.
I'm just trying to give you guys some silver linings here. The irony for me, and I'm not quite sure how to articulate this, but I'm gonna do my best, is that many trans activists and allies from the trans and gender-based communities, these movements, paint themselves typically as the victim in all of this.
Literally, they paint themselves as the victim in everything. Every single time. It's
Always.
actually Victim Olympics.
The fact that they are, in fact, the most aggressive perpetrators online a lot of the time, and typically
literally it's actual cry bullying. The entire it's a giant community of cry bullies. It's crazy. It's actually wild. They are very inclusive.
Yeah.
Unless you're a white guy, in which case they're gonna cook you.
The ones making these situations even worse. I just really struggled to see how the most aggressive voices in a community and across an issue who are contributing to people getting doxxed and fired and harassed and whatnot are the victims.
Like, it's crazy. Like, when you say it, it makes no sense. But I feel like that's literally been...
There was an actor, an African-American actor, who lied saying that he was attacked by 2 Trump supporters. When the truth of the matter is, it came out that he was crying wolf. He hired a couple of people to pretty much beat him up and tie a noose around his neck and make it seem like it was a bunch of Trump supporters, because the truth of the matter is he was about to get fired from his job, so he needed something to keep his job. He was an actor for one of those BET shows or some kind of Empire or whatever, and he lied purposely just so he could keep his job. But he lied in such a heinous way that when it was discovered, it's like, he didn't do it. That's a lie. Yet the people that beat him up turned him in.
The state of,
the innocent
honestly,
people.
The far left, for a very long time. A very long time. Bro, it's actually insane. If you're a trans, gay, retarded person, I would lick your feet, god damn it. That's how oppressed you are.
And all of that. I feel like I am missing something. The dots are not all connecting. Anyway.
All the pieces aren't welding together.
It's like, I am a marginalized minority victim. How dare you speak to me like that? I'm gonna kill you.
Oh.
And everyone's like, yeah! Yeah! Preach, queen!
All of this said, you might be asking...
Call me racist, but I actually treat all races equally. Alright? I treat all races, all gender identities, all whatever. I give you the respect that you give me. Okay? That's what I do. I don't...
Do unto others as they do unto you. Or if you want to be more simpler in terms, we all bleed the same color. no matter what gender you are, what race you are, nationality, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, we all bleed red. Okay? But I ain't gonna respect you if you can't even show me 1% of respect. If you show me respect, I will do my best to show you the respect right back. But if you're gonna treat me like a dick, gender equality, ma'am, sir, you get the dick right back.
Give a shit whatever you do in your private life. If you're an asshole, though, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go wild.
Yes!
Toxic to toxic people, wholesome to wholesome people. This is what you do. You do not buckle on your ideals, okay? Just because I treat people with the respect that they treat me, that doesn't mean I need to fucking buckle my ideals in order to kiss the ground you walk on.
Sydney, what's the net effect of all of these things? Well, I will tell you.
Yeah. No, they've literally paved their own road to hell. It's crazy. They absolutely undermine their own movement every single time. And now Trump is in America, and the first thing Trump said was 2 genders.
That's it.
And literally everyone applauded.
People are tired. They are tired of walking on eggshells. And they
True.
are fed up with being accused of bigotry or
True.
transphobia, lest they use the...
Not just transphobia. They call you genocidal. That's the new thing. Because transphobia, it's not an insult anymore to a lot of people. Because if you're called transphobic, then it's like, all right, whatever, all right, sure, whatever. You know, everyone's called transphobic these days. But bro, they changed the terms to genocidal. Because if there's an M on the passport instead of an F, it means you want trans-genocide, which is not true. It's a lie. I'm telling you, every time. I am telling you, the word genocide is the new Nazi. People didn't catch on to this one yet, but genocide is the new Nazi. Every time you see the word genocide in a tweet, match it to the Google definition of genocide, and I swear to you 99% of the time it'll be false.
Yep.
Wrong pronoun with a stranger that they meet in the store. Many people...
No, literally, you bump into someone in the store and you say, sorry, sir. They'll say, it's ma'am, and they'll film you and they'll post it on the internet, and then people will harass you. Like, that's not normal.
People, me included, are tired of watching language be altered and erased to accommodate a fraction of the population, erasing age-old truths that we have known and understood since the beginning of recorded history. So yeah, it's not really a mystery why the pendulum is doing a backswing right now. Depending on your...
Again, the pendulum swings back because once it swings all the way to the far... to any side, let's say left in this analogy, far left, it's just gonna come right back down because society cannot survive.
Yeah.
It can't survive with the radical left creatures trying to control everyone's thoughts and speech.
Yeah.
People in England getting arrested for praying next to an abortion clinic? Like, what the fuck?
Perspective, the funny or sad...
Pendulum's doing a goddamn backflip at this point.
Part here in all of this is how many people actually
You want to hear a hot take? Don't clip this one, okay? Well, whatever you think, do not clip this hot take. It's too hot.
Uh-oh.
I think the natural pendulum swing was supposed to be a few years ago. But because of the shadow government's manipulation and funding, they kept pulling the pendulum further than it was naturally supposed to go. So right now, the pendulum swing is falling with an even bigger velocity than it naturally should have.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's a crazy take.
I mean, it's not really a crazy take.
Listen, I'm not going to say 2020 when it was supposed to swing. I'm not talking about any sorts of conspiracy theories here or anything. But I think the pendulum was pulled back artificially further than it should have.
Used to wholesale support and or accept the trans movement and its objectives and many of its people. But as time has worn on, those same people have become infinitely less accepting because of the tactics used by the trans community.
For sure. I feel like that this entire pendulum swing shit, it literally taught me to not buckle on anything ideologically.
Yeah.
Really. Because the first time I heard that they were introducing, you know, female custodies in Warhammer, I didn't care. I was like, okay, what does that matter? But now, I will not budge on this. Not even an ounce. I don't give you anything. Nothing.
Enforcing their acceptance. Are we seeing a trend here? In their attempts to...
I am a radical centrist, goddammit! Oh my god, this is crazy. I've literally been so fucking radicalized by the internet. And I know I am. I am radical in my own beliefs. And I am not willing to buckle an iota away from my actual radical, chaotic, neutral position.
Basically shame and attack people into compliance, they have instead caused a ton of the broader community to jump ship. People don't take too
Oh, Lord.
kindly to children being exposed to things like drag shows. Hypersexualized?
Yeah, I don't think children should be exposed to
They
literally
shouldn't.
anything, even remotely sexualized, to be honest. Anything remotely sexualized should be considered public obscenities. There should actually be obscenity laws to,
There
like,
should
I've
be.
seen pride parades where people had their balls hanging out of their skirts, and honestly, that should absolutely fall under public obscenity laws, like, without a shadow of a doubt. Literally without a shadow of a doubt.
Events. They don't like seeing drag performances at school assemblies and class education that is graphic and misleading, telling little children that gender is a spectrum and sex is not, in fact, immutable. The hostility with which trans activists and allies approach arguments, the refusal to acknowledge the realities of our biological nature, and the constant attempts to change language to accommodate people's precious feelings
Yeah, it's not
has
working.
accelerated the disdain and anger in the broader
100%.
community.
No one hurts a cause like the activists.
Oh, God, that
to literally
face.
that cause. I'm telling you. And you'll see it again
Don't
and again
add that
and
to
again.
the thumbnail
I feel like
connection.
I'm giving an entire audience.
Don't
my entire
add that
audience
to
is
the
like slowly
thumbnail
developing
collection.
like this downfall fetish. And honestly, I'm gonna continue supporting that. We support downfalls here. Hell yeah, dude.
And I can assure you, this
Especially if they're self-induced.
pendulum swing is about to get much worse. Or better, depending on which side of the aisle you're on.
Yeah, we'll see.
And how you feel about all of this. By refusing to put meaningful, logical limits on self-identification, by blurring the lines between science and ideology and forcing their ideas onto the wider population, trans activists and their allies have ensured that all of the ground that they have achieved in recent years is going to be reversed.
100%. No one hurts
They're
a cause
doing their
like
own
an activist
damage.
to that cause. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
They are their
Literally.
own Trojan
They always take
horse.
it too far, and now no one wants to give in to anything. Literally.
So the bottom line is that whether or not people agree or disagree with what's currently happening, the backslide of support that we're currently seeing and the reversal of policies that we're currently seeing is entirely self-inflicted.
Literally.
I'm personally of the opinion that most people probably would have been fine continuing this live and let live philosophy had
way it
the
should be.
trans movement and its activists not gone completely off the bloody rails.
Yeah, but let me tell you a little thing about power. Power corrupts. And, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think enabling things only causes people to get more powerful and feel the ability and the right to only push boundaries even further. The issue is there is no bounds to corruption. And the more power a party gets, or a group gets, or an ideology gets, the more they actually want. They went high on power because they had absolute power. No one on the internet got as censored or as banned or as vilified as people who went against specific ideologies, specifically on the far left. And we're literally seeing that everywhere. And now the pendulum is swinging backwards. And enabling power corrupts as well. And you can't enable corruption. Sorry, I feel like that's the lesson.
At one point, there probably actually was a middle ground that could have been achieved.
Power doesn't corrupt, but reveals true colors. I mean, I disagree with you personally. I think power actually corrupts. I think it actively corrupts.
Here. But again, these people made damn sure that that was never going to be the case. And now we have very much bypassed that stage.
Yeah, so all the trans activists that blame Trump for this, I think you should be blaming the trans activists first and Trump second. Sorry. Your own fault.
And just to be clear, I'm not saying any of this with a degree of glee or whatever. I
have glee. I like downfalls.
Yeah, Trump
what can
does.
I say? I'm sorry if this
Enough
affects
does.
you, but listen, there's chaos and I'm gonna enjoy it anyway.
Hey, Trump is also enjoying it too.
Too much glee on this channel. Subscribe if you like glee.
honestly would prefer just to be left alone. But apparently that's just too much to ask.
Yeah, honestly, same. It's crazy. Trump never would have won if woke people just would have just shut up. For real, for real. Every time they called him Hitler, they made him more popular.
In the end, my prediction here is that this entire movement is going to unravel. And honestly, although I'm not super sure what that looks like at its nth degree, I am very pleased that finally some sanity is making headway. Now on that note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder, check out Incogni using...
Yeah, so that was a good video. I think that she really broke down, Sydney Watson, she really broke down this entire backswing really, really well. How it started off more or less people were accepting because it didn't really affect other people, so no one really cared. And it's only once it actually started growing into this actual eldritch.
The bad part, they did their own damage to themselves. Sometimes people need to remain in the shadows, do their own thing, and get by. But if you bring too much attention to it, then people see. And when people see how bad it is, then it ain't a good thing.
And horror, constricting the freedoms of the people around them and infecting everyone with a borderline fascist autocracy, forcing people into compliance or just straight up annihilation. That is when it took its own life, women. Completely corrupted. And honestly, I think that's a fair analysis. And what can I say? Downfalls? If you like downfalls, this is the place for you. Definitely subscribe for future downfalls. They're cooked. It's over. They're completely cooked. Hell yeah. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one for more downfalls, more chaos. Chaos galore. That's what we do here, baby. And
thank you all very much for being here, watching my reaction to 100% Done. The trans movie is 100% done now. I will give me a couple days and I'll do the part 2 to this video. It's just, I really need to get on that shoe on head video before she releases another one. I'm really far behind, but my birthday kind of threw everything out of whack. And like I said, after seeing this video, I'm going to need a drink. Because the logic with some of them, it's too much. Like I said, if you leave me 5 comments asking about that person, the one I told you about that's like a cult almost, I'll cover it. And if someone in a comment mentions they want me to do a reaction to a certain person's video about it, I will do that, and I'll give you a shout out in the video as well. But yeah, this was definitely something else. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. This video will get released on my birthday, so you know what? Just keep an eye out just a little bit, and it'll be on there. I can't go too much, because right now we're almost 2 hours into the video. So take care for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.